Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I hope everyone's having a great time in Vegas. My name is Stacy Stevens, and I'm the exam program manager for the CCNP Collaboration exams. And we are going to talk here for the next half hour about a few things. We're going to go over the requirements to earn your CCNP certification, the Collaboration Core Blueprint, preparing for the collaboration exams, and also the certification lifestyle management. And then at the end, we'll have Q&A. So what are the requirements? In order to get your CCNP collaboration certification, you must pass the core exam, which is a 350-801 exam, and then one of the 4 concentration exams that you see at the top. So we have the collaboration apps exam, the call control and mobility exam, collaboration cloud and edge solutions, and then the automating and program exam, which is part of our DevNet program. So as long as you pass the core exam and one of those 4 concentration exams, and it can be in any order, then you can earn your CCNP collaboration certification. As far as the expert level, the CCIE collaboration, you need to take and pass that same core exam and then also the CCIE lab exam. So the core collaboration blueprint is constructed of, those numbers are kind of fuzzy, of 6 domains, and domains are what we call the high-level topics of what the exam covers, the information that's going to be on the exam. And it's kind of hard to read here, but you can see the 6 different topics. They are broken down into percentages. So domain 1 is infrastructure and design, and that's going to cover 20% of the exam. And then we have protocols, codecs, and endpoints. And that's also 20%. Then we have Cisco, iOS, XE, gateway, and media resources. That's going to be 15% of the exam. And then call control is 25%. So call control is actually a quarter of the whole entire exam. And then QoS is 10%, and collaboration applications is 10%. So we're going to go and, first of all, we're going to talk about deciphering the blueprint. So if we look, and this is domain 2.0, protocol, codecs, and endpoints. If we look, this is 20% of the exam. And if you see, we're looking at 2 tasks underneath the domain 2. One of them for 2.1 is troubleshoot these elements of a SIP conversation. And you see we actually have 3 what we call subtasks under domain and task 2.1. And like I said, the 2.0 is actually what we call the domain. The domain weights 20% for this, and then the 2.2 and also the 2.1, but this is just the examples it's giving of a task, is the actual where you see the verbs and what it's actually going to be testing you on. So troubleshoot, identify, and we'll see some of the other verbs when we go to other parts of the blueprint. So for the blueprint verbs, it's going to be testing the depth of knowledge that you're going to need, and the questions are going to be aligned to that depth of knowledge. So at the remember level for the core blueprint, we're going to see describe and explain questions. In those tasks that we talked about, it's going to tell you to describe something, explain something, and that's just at the memory recall level. So just a basic, not an easy question, but nothing that's going to ask you to troubleshoot or configure. But when we go to the apply level, we're actually going to be asking you to configure, implement, or deploy something. And there's other verbs, but the core blueprint only covers the verbs that you're seeing here on the screen. And then for the analyze level, we have troubleshoot and identify. So you're going to be asked, or you're given a scenario, a problem, and asked what the next step is, or how do you fix that problem. Excuse me. So the 6 major areas of knowledge, we went over these already in the different percentages, of course, adding up to 100. And like we said, call control is 25% of the exam. So when you go to study, the blueprint should be your best friend. The blueprint's going to tell you what you need to know to be familiar with the questions on the exam, to know the material, enough to pass the exam. So you already know by looking at this that call control is a quarter of the exam. And we're not going to test so much on QoS or collab applications because they're each only 10%. So it's just a very small portion of the exam. So domain 1, these are the tasks that we have. There's 6 tasks, and you can see there's a few describe level tasks, there's a configure, and there's also a troubleshoot. And like I talked about before, all of the questions that we have on our exams always map to the task level on a blueprint. So we cannot ask anything that's not mapped to an actual domain and task on the blueprint. Some tasks do not have any subtasks, like a few slides ago I showed you in the excuse me, kind of the orangish brown color, but some of the tasks do have what we call subtasks, and it's just a deeper dive and giving you examples of things that we're actually going to be asking you about. So for domain 2, we have 5 tasks, and you'll see here troubleshoot, identify, deploy, another troubleshoot, and describe. So a few different levels here of questions that we're asking for domain 2. Domain 3, again, configure, troubleshoot, identify, and describe. And 4, we have 5 tasks, and again, implement, describe, and configure. In QoS, we actually have 7 tasks and a lot of describe, and then the last one you're going to see is configure. So QoS, just by looking at it, you know, it's going to be 10% of the exam, and a lot of the questions are going to be at the lower level, at the remember level. And then the domain 6, the last one, it's also 10%. The collaboration applications is going to only be 4 tasks, and 2 of them are configure, 1 describe, and 1 deploy. As far as preparing for the collaboration exams, there's many different things you can do to prepare. We have DevNet Sandbox, we have the Cisco Digital Learning Network, we have CiscoU, which if you've, you know, the buzz around here is CiscoU that just went live, I believe, last week. It's a personalized learning platform that you can go in, and there's different study resources and things to help you kind of plan your path if you're not sure where to go or what to take first. There's blogs. We've incorporated information from CLN into CiscoU, so please take a look at it and subscribe and look at all the good content in there if you haven't already done so. Cisco Press Books, DevNet Learning Labs, Cisco Live Sessions, which is what you all are, you know, here for now. And then study groups, Cisco.com documentation, so many ways that you can study for these exams. CiscoU we touched on just a few minutes ago, and again, it's a great new thing that's just launched, personalized learning platform, so if you haven't checked it out, please do. Cisco Press Books, community study groups, and there's different, you know, there's join the discussion, you can find people, you can find mentors on here, you can become a mentor. There's just a lot of really good information if you look at the different community study groups there. So certification lifestyle management, for those of you that already are in the collaboration certification journey, how many of you have taken or either collaboration certified or in process of being certified? Few of you, or a lot of you actually. Okay, great. So I'm not sure if you're familiar yet with the certification lifestyle management, but we used to visit our blueprints every 3 to 5 years, make a lot of modifications, give you, I believe it was 6 months overlap from the current exams to the new exams in case you're in the middle of studying. We don't want to, you know, just change the exams in one day on you. We want you to be able to go ahead and take the exam that you have been studying for as far as the material on the blueprint. But we, as of this year, have started doing something that we're going to continue to do every year, and actually data center in collaboration were the exams that we did this for first. So if you see here, we have the review certification exams, the exams that you're going to see in orange, those are in review, and then we announce those reviews and changes in blue, and then green is published. So in Q1 at the top there, you see data center and collaboration in review cycle. So what happened for collaboration is we met with the business unit, we met with multiple SMEs, we had multiple meetings, we went over the blueprints, we looked at them and said, what do we take out? What is not relevant content anymore? What is new content that needs to be in there? And we made changes to the blueprints. The good thing is we didn't change any blueprint more than 20%. And when we added the content in that is new, we didn't put the content at the higher level at that apply or analyze level. The questions and the content in there in the blueprint that has been added, we put in more at the remember level. We didn't want to shock the community and just say, hey, here's, WebEx Cloud, go ahead and configure it. So we're trying to ease the new information into the blueprints. Since this is the first revision of it, it's version 1.1. It went from 1.0 to 1.1. We gradually introduce the information, and then next rev, when we do this next year, those questions, the new tasks and new things on the blueprint might go from that remember level then to the configure troubleshoot level. So for collaboration, it was reviewed, like I said, in Q1. In Q2, it was announced, and in Q3, the new exams went live. So it went from version 1.0 to 1.1, and those exams all were released April 20th of this last year. So we're going to be doing this, every year. And again, you can look at here and see what technology you are interested in, and kind of know ahead of time what's going to be changing for the technology that you're interested in. So this is a good thing. You can go to cisco.com/go/cert roadmap and actually subscribe, and they'll let you know when the changes are going to be coming. And just say, if you're, for example, studying for the enterprise exams, they'll say, hey, just so you know, this is going to change in 6 months, be prepared, or, whatever the technology is and whatever date that's going to be changing. As far as when the exams change from version 1.0 to 1.1, we release notes for each of our exams. And this is just a copy of part of what the core exam looks like for Collab. So you can see here for version 1.0, we took out, it looks like for 1.5, we took out explain these components to support Cisco collaboration solutions. And we took out directory connect. I'm sorry, we didn't take out. We added directory connector in the version 1.1. We added describe WebEx control hub features. We took out configure codec negotiations. So this is just a compare of the old version 1 to the new version 1.1. And this is just, like I said, a little snapshot of, it looks like part of domain 1 and part of domain 2, 3, and 4, but there's actually multiple pages for each exam. So you can see actually what we took out and what we added in. So when you go to study, you know that you do not need to know configure codec negotiations any longer, because we took that out. All right, it's not moving. Okay, any questions? I'm sorry? The question was, why do we take out Codec Center? And you're asking if it's because we're a lot of the moving to the cloud. That was probably, so there's a lot of things, like I said, when we have these meetings and we decide what's going to be taken out, what's going to be added, a lot more content we want removed and added, but we're sticking to that 20%. So it was, because like you said, a lot of things are moving to cloud. Hybrid, we're doing a lot of things hybrid. We're still keeping on-prem stuff, and some places that use Cisco equipment will never move to the cloud fully. So it was just, that was what the majority of the group thought that should be taken out. Any other questions? Yes. Yes. The question was, will a new version be released in next April for Collab? And yes, it'll be version 1.2 then. Instead of 1.1, it'll go to 1.2. And then when the time comes where we feel like we need to do a major revision and actually change domains and take more than 20% out, or add more than 20% in, then we'll move to a 2.0, or whatever the major number is, the next one, versus a 1.2. That makes sense. So yes, the plan right now is to do 1.2 that will be released next April. The other technologies. Okay, so if you look back at the roadmap, here we go. So data center and collaboration are on the same timeline. So they were done at the same time. So those data center, all the data center exams and the collaboration exams, the version 1.1 exams were released for those two technologies on April 20th. So if you look, enterprise will be released next quarter. Well, I guess right now we're in Q4, so it'll be released in Q4. And when I say quarter, it's Cisco's quarter. So our fiscal year Q1 starts in August. So we're in Q4 right now. So it's not really like a calendar year. It's Cisco's fiscal year. I'm sorry? Yeah, we're going to keep the same. So every Q1, you can look forward to Data Center and Collab doing their revisions, and every Q2, you can see that Security and Enterprise are going to go, and then, or I'm sorry, that's not Security and Enterprise in Q4. Yeah, and then Service Provider and CCNA in Q1, and then DevNet and CyberOps Q2. So in this, it's same every year. The question is, do I have an idea of when the major revisions will happen? And I don't know that right now. It's probably not going to be the same path for every technology, because obviously a lot changes in collaboration and security more than some of the other technologies. So it's not going to be a set path like this, but this is just something that we decided we need to visit every technology every year. So this is, and there might not be any changes. It just depends when the group gets together. If they decide there hasn't been enough to change, or we don't need to take anything out because everything's still, the technology is still relevant, there won't be a change. So just because we have this review cycle on the roadmap doesn't mean you have to change it. It's just when we're going to look at it, revisit it, and decide if it needs to be changed or not. So as far as the next major revision, like you're asking, it's hard to say. Anything else? No. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming here. And one last thing, we're going to do a little Oprah style where look under your seat. And if you have a ticket, we have an Echo spot to give away. And if you don't have it under your seat, look under your neighbor's seat, because there's a ticket out there somewhere. You got it? Okay, wonderful.